So, welcome everyone to Tapping In, where we tap into the wisdom and experience of successful leaders. I'm so excited today to host Kim Wileman from GALLA Beauty and No Makeup Makeup. And I'm excited because she is one of the most wonderful people that I have met this year. And I cannot wait for her to share her wisdom and experience with you. I think you'll love her, and I think you'll enjoy listening to our conversation. So welcome, Kim.
Oh my gosh, that was such an incredible intro. Gwen, I'm so happy to be here with you. And I feel like you're a kindred spirit and excited to have this conversation.
Great, great. So let's get started and just jump right on in.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your journey as a CEO and what got you into beauty. I know you've been doing this in the industry for a long period of time, and you have helped tons of other people in their beauty industry as well. So share a little bit about that journey, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'm a Gen Xer. And I love saying that because we grew up in a different time. And I would say that I grew up in the late 80s, really not having a clear direction of what I wanted to do. I knew two things. I knew I loved makeup, and I knew that I loved people. And my first exposure to the beauty industry was actually through my Aunt Polly, God rest her. She would have the Avon ladies come to her home and they would bring these little mini lipsticks. I don't know if you remember those.
I
They
do.
were, and she had a drawer filled with them. And I was fascinated by these mini lipsticks. And when we would go to her house, I would go in the drawer and my lips would be rubbed raw because I would try on all of the different colors, and it was magic. And also I had my grandmother was super glamorous. She wore Revlon's Cherry in the Snow. And the same thing when I went to her home, I would go to her vanity and just try on makeup. And it just became like this passion for me. While I was going to college, I worked at Saks Fifth Avenue, and a position opened up in the beauty department. And I thought I was like 19 years old, and it was for the acting department manager. And they lost their assistant, and the manager was going out on maternity leave, and they needed somebody to run the department. I went in and, long story short, I begged for the position.
Oh, wow.
And so here I am, 19 years old. They give me the job. And I think it was because they thought she's a hard worker. It's only going to be for 3 or 4 months. Uh, it'll be great, and we'll save money.
Right, right.
There's always a thing. Okay, and again, this is like maybe 1990. I am making $5.80 an hour, and I am managing now 75 women.
Wow.
And those women ate me alive.
Oh
The
my.
education that I got from it was just extraordinary. You learn about people, I learned about ingredients, I learned about branding, I learned about events, I learned about huge launches, launches like CK1 and Safari by Lauren and Ralph Lauren. And I learned about open to buy. I learned about what my what worked best with customers, how customers were just, you brought them in to create a story and helped people feel good about themselves. And that was really ultimately, which was what made me feel good, was helping other people feel really great about themselves. And I, to this day, encourage young people to always have a job in service. I think if you work in retail, if you work in as a receptionist anywhere, if you work in food services, it gives you such a great eye for just connecting with people. and learning about and navigating through those sometimes horrible conversations. But I would say that's where I got my start.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that. And I love what you said about helping people feel good about themselves. I
Mhm.
think so many times we know what people need and we don't empower them to really feel better about their decisions. You know, we want to go in and solve their problem, and that's important. We want to solve their problem, but I think it's also important for us to help them feel good about themselves and help them go in a direction that feels right for them. Yeah.
It's so feeling good about yourself and having self-confidence is the basis of really creating success for yourself, right? So we
Exactly.
know, like, when we're having a great hair day, you can conquer the world. You know, you're walking outside, you look and feel great. Like there's a different type of energy. And I definitely have had people in my life saying, "Oh, beauty is so frivolous, like it's not meaningful." And I have to say, I totally disagree. I feel that everybody wants to look their best. We may not all be supermodels or famous actresses, but we can present ourselves in a really good way. And I
Right.
think that there are some universal truths out there in regards to beauty. No matter what you aspire to be or what group you're in or whatever, everybody wants good skin. Everybody wants their skin to look glowing and youthful and the best that it possibly can. I really
Right.
believe this to be true. And
Yeah.
everybody knows that when you're having a bad hair day, you can sometimes have like the worst day just because your hair is just so connected to like your outside persona.
Mhm.
For me it definitely is one of those things, but I think what beauty does is allow people to feel confident within themselves. And if it takes a red lipstick, wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Spend $20. It's cheaper than therapy, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Coming from a therapist.
Yeah.
So the other thing that you brought out that just really caught my attention too was how bold you were in going and asking for this job. You know,
Yes.
so I'm not sure begging gets the job done all the time, but you were doing what you felt like you needed to do in that
Yes.
moment and just being so bold. And I love that boldness. And I see it in your personality anyway. You're just a bold
Yeah.
person, and
Yeah,
I just
that's
love
so
that.
interesting. I would say I'm a risk taker for sure. And I've never let, growing up in a smaller town, um, not having like the right connections, I've never let that affect me. I've always been like, ooh, I know so and so, they can connect me with that person. This is a good idea. And now today, like I am connected really well, and I'm so grateful for my network of people. So now what I do, especially with Gala Beauty, is if I'm working with a new brand and uh they need to be connected because um they need operational help. I can go to my network of people and it's not the same person, it's not the same guy or gal, it's the person that's right for them. And I'm definitely known for doing that, connecting people.
That's awesome. So connection is super important on any business level, right? So your connection with people, how you make them feel when you're around them and they're around you, and then connecting people to others. So that network you talked about, so vital for people to have in their lives. So for those of you who are listeners, if you don't have a network, find one, okay? Because if there's something I've learned in business, you cannot do this alone. Like
Absolutely not.
you need go-to people just like
Yes.
they need you, right? So
Yes.
you've got to be that go-to person for somebody and they've got to be a go-to person for you. So all of that is super important. So being bold, taking risks, having a network, all of this is really good. But even just connection for connection's sake, for community and humanness,
I also
Super
think
important.
it's so interesting. In order, like, just let's take business just as part of the conversation. It's really important that you work with experts or be connected to experts, because we can't all be experts in
Right.
every single thing that we do with our business. It is just not possible. We can be informed, we can be educated, but one of the things that I love about getting older is now I have the choice to do what I want to do and lean in on what really like makes me passionate about the beauty industry. And all of the other stuff, letting it go and letting the experts handle it. And so when you talk about your network, it's really important. And one of the lessons that I needed to learn along the way was um, you don't need to be best friends with everybody in your business. And I learned this early on. In fact, there are personality traits that we all have. So I'm, a natural salesperson, a
Mhm.
natural innovator. I am not a natural financial person. You need a CFO to run your financials on your business if you want to scale the way you need to. Well, personality wise, a financial person versus a salesperson, they're on two ends of the spectrum.
Right, right.
So you have to find common ground. And I find that it's really important to respect people and basically give them the full band as a CEO, as a leader, give them the full bandwidth to be exceptional
Right.
and to do what they are doing and listen to what they have to say. Because if you're trying to scale a business, experts will help you do that. And then conversely, for young people, all of the young people on my team who help with creatives and growth marketing, they're whizzes. And what they are doing and the passion that they bring, I am grateful for it every single day. And I think mentoring young people is so critical so that they know, like what I try to do and what I've tried to do my entire career is let everybody feel so good about their input that they're bringing to a meeting, that it's valid input, and allow them to like collaborate and bring something to the table, especially if it's something that's concerning them.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I love that. And so the two things you brought out that I think are super important here is almost getting out of the way so people can do their job. Like and letting people do what they need to do and shine in your workplace and encourage that, right, encourage them to show up as themselves. And then the new fresh ideas of people that you mentor, maybe you're putting effort into mentoring them, but they're younger and they bring in a fresh outlook. So my husband actually worked for an organization and no longer does, but did for a while, where there was primarily older engineers, and
Right?
we're talking 60 and above. And
Yeah.
then there were a bunch of 20 somethings there, and it's just like there was hardly any space in between, like hardly anybody that was an age
Right.
between. But bringing those two perspectives together was really dynamic and very helpful to them. So super cool idea. But I love just mentoring them as well. So it's not that you're just mining their perspective and their ideas, but you're actually mentoring them in wisdom and experience that they need as they move forward in their career. I wish more businesses did that. I wish more CEOs did that. Yeah.
It's so important. I'll share a situation for No Makeup Makeup that we had recently. We've got a young woman who is running some creatives on our email campaigns and our SMS. And she also runs TikTok campaigns, creatives. And we started having, so one thing I like to do, and I think it's so important for businesses, is quarterly do a SWOT on yourself and your business. strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Like what's working, what isn't working, and then taking a look at it and saying, okay, I need to be honest about myself in this particular area. Here's what we're doing really, really well. And if you do this right, what you will see is you're addressing your weaknesses, and you'll see the opportunities as kind of like the longest thing. So your strengths will come up, and if you're being honest, you'll see, and there will be like maybe 5 to 10 solid strengths that you have, especially in a young business. And then your weaknesses, you're going to have a lot of weaknesses, but those weaknesses can be tied to opportunities. So we're having a team meeting, and we're having this discussion, and one of our opportunities and one of our weaknesses is how we represent ourselves on TikTok. And this young woman is so passionate about our brand. And I could see her getting upset in the meeting, like she was feeling that I was being critical on her. And I sensed it, and I said, wait a second, Casey, I want you to know I'm not being critical of you. I want you to know that I went through this exercise of a SWOT, and I know what the issue is on TikTok. And I wanted to have this discussion so you knew we know what the issues are, and we know what needs to change. So let's have a strategy session about it. And I could see the relief on her face, because I could see all of the thoughts that we go through, especially as females. I'm working so hard.
Right,
Can't they
right.
see what I'm doing? Does my boss not like me? Like all of those things that you and I have definitely experienced at some point in our
Multiple
career.
times, right.
And I recognized it. I recognized her going through the emotions. And I said, wait a second, this is more of a criticism on us, that we know what needs to be done so we can support you so you can be successful in this area. And it transitioned into such a great conversation with everybody. And now we've got this incredible program. This younger team is running it, and they're telling us what to do, which is phenomenal.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So much we can learn from people who come from a different walk of life, who come from a different age group. And we have to open our minds to that, right? And
Totally.
yeah, so that's awesome. Well, I know we're almost out of time. Thank you so much, Kim. It was such a delight to talk to you.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad I was able to have you on our show. And for all our listeners, I hope you'll join us on our next episode. I continue to run into really incredible people just like Kim, who are out to make a difference in the world and share their wisdom and experience with other people. So thank you again, Kim.
Thank you for having me, Gwen.
Yeah, it was a delight. And for all of our listeners, we'll see you soon.